Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. I'm excited as we look at the book of Joshua because the book of Joshua is a continuation of the story of God in the lives of people. That's the storyline of the Bible, how people met God and their lives were forever changed. And it all happened because when they met God, they by faith responded to Him working in their lives. Now we've been talking about Joshua becoming a great leader, following the greatest leader ever, Moses, and how God prepared him and how God is going to use him to lead the people into the land of promise. And there they'll conquer the giants there. And but when we come to chapter 2, we meet another interesting person. I mean, we go from one extreme to another. A godly, wonderful man who all his life has grown up to know God, to love God, to live for God, to worship God, and to be prepared to be a great leader. We go to a lady who's called Rahab, a prostitute inside the city of Jericho. Now you think about that. While God is at work outside the city, over in the land of Jordan, over in the wilderness, as the people of Israel are preparing to go into the promised land, God's working in Joshua's life. God's speaking to him. God's commissioning him. God's promising him. But my friend, inside the enemy city, God's at work also. There's a lady named Rahab the Harlot. We read about her several more times in the scripture. We read about her in Hebrews chapter 11. Matter of fact, only two ladies are mentioned in Hebrews chapter 11, and that's Sarah, the wife of Abraham, and Rahab the Harlot. She's always kind of got that tag onto her name. And that's kind of interesting that we'll talk about the next few days, but she's Rahab the Harlot. But then also James talks about her with Abraham, talking about faith without works is dead. And Abraham had works that backed up the truth and evidence of his faith, and so did Rahab, and they're used as examples in the book of James. And then also in Matthew chapter 1, in the genealogy of Jesus Christ, where three women are mentioned or alluded to, is Rahab is one of them, that God puts her in the genealogy in the line of Christ. Now that gets interesting because one of the underlying stories of the Bible and the book of Joshua is we conquer by faith. We conquer by faith. We deal with our issues and problems and challenges in life by faith. We trust God. We believe His word. We know He has a plan and a purpose even in the difficult times. Now, outside the city, over in the wilderness, God's working in Joshua's life. But God's working inside the city to bring a woman by the name of Rahab to faith in Himself. Even before the spies get there, He's at work to do that. And my friend, that tells me, even now in this wicked, evil, ungodly world, these Jerichos that are all around us, blocking us from God's best for our lives, even in those situations, God's at work. You remember how God used even a persecutor by the name of Saul to become the great apostle Paul. He was outside the church, outside the faith, but yet God was dealing and working and bringing him to a faith where one day he would turn to the living God. When you meet God, everything changes and you meet Him by faith. And that's one of the great things that we learn from the book of Joshua. And I trust you're listening to it today. And so in Joshua chapter 2, now Joshua the son of Nun sent out two men from Acacia Grove to spy secretly, saying, "Go view the land, especially Jericho." So they went. And look where they came to. They came to the house of a harlot named Rahab, and they lodged there. So that very first verse, we meet this lady, Rahab, who was a harlot and a prostitute who used and sold her body to make money to take care of her special needs that she might have in her life and in her family. What an interesting story as we see how God uses people and brings people to Himself who are prepared to do His will, the most unlikely people in the world. That means God can use you. No matter what you've done, where you are, what road you're on in life, you meet God by faith through Jesus Christ, and your life also will be forever changed. Well, God bless you as we study this wonderful book of faith. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.